For the 40-hour famine, it's our opportunity as a community. We have our annual sleepover, but more importantly, it's our opportunity as a community to do something for those less privileged than ourselves. And I want to just probably ram that home slightly in that yesterday, I was in a senior school assembly. And as I was sitting in the freezing cold assembly, I learnt something. I learnt from the assembly that apparently, I hope I got this correct because I wasn't so alert at the time, but apparently 4 million Ethiopians live on roughly 20 cents per day, which is a ridiculously small amount of money to live off on a daily basis. And it kind of got me thinking and feeling just a little bit guilty because on Wednesday, so 2 days ago, I was sitting in my office and I was trying to do some work. And as I was sitting in my office trying to do work, I got the chocolate shakes. And this deep craving sort of came over me to get chocolate. So I grabbed some money, I went across to the vending machine, and I spent $2 and I bought a Snickers bar. And I was sort of thinking about it, $2 for a Snickers bar, because I had the chocolate shakes, is 10 days worth of income for some people in Ethiopia. Which is insane because it's such a small amount to us. I mean, it's just $2, chocolate shakes. I'm going to get myself something to eat. $2. Most of you guys spend that at our little cafe, snack bar, whatever you call that thing down the back. $2 is not much, and I want to really ram home that when it gets to the 40-hour famine, make sure you sign up, make sure you go get sponsors, or if you're not doing the famine, make sure you sponsor somebody, because just a little bit, maybe some of you can afford more than a little bit, but just a little bit will make a huge difference to the lives of those that are less privileged than us. So that's coming up later this term on the 17th of August. I think that's enough about what's coming up. I want to pray, and then we're going to get into our first talk about taking out the trash. So let's quickly pray as we get into God's Word. Father, I thank you for the time we've had jumping off stages, trying to do slam dunks, wrestling in flour, and whatever else we got up to this evening. Lord, I thank you for the food that we've all had, that I just ask that you'd bless it to our bodies. As we come now to your word, to your message, I just ask, Father, that you would impact all of us. That as we come to listen to what you're saying to us, I ask that you'll give us attention, that you'll give us minds to remember what you're saying, and that we'd leave this place changed and encouraged because of what you're doing. In your mighty name I pray. Amen. Cool. True story. At recess today, I was handing out the Ignite flyers. They're a little bit later than normal. I hope you guys the new square designs. And as I was handing out the Ignite flyers, I came up to a girl. She wants me to call her Princess, which is a little bit weird, but I came up to this girl. We'll call her Girl. I came up to this girl, and she took one look at the flyer, and when she just went, "Ew, taking out trash, that's disgusting." And I was like, wow, you're blonde. That's not exactly what this term is all about. But I was kind of thinking about it. I think she actually got it like fully correct in that statement straight away. Because when it comes to taking out the trash, that's often what we think about. When you see something that says take out the trash, people tend to think about walking down your driveway with your green wheelie bin, or the bins in the house, the litter on the floor, or perhaps you think about a yard duty if you're one of those students. I've taught some of you, you are those students. If you're one of those students, you might think of a rubbish bag and yard duties at lunch. But either way, that's often what we start to think about. And so I was having to prepare this talk for you guys. I was thinking, trash. What the heck is trash? What does take the trash mean? Or take the trash out mean? So I Googled trash. I wanted a definition. And the definition I got was that trash is generally worthless or discarded material. And it's stuff that we no longer need or want. And so as I got this definition about worthless and discarded material, I also found the image that's just behind me. And this is a street in some place. I don't know where it is. It's not my street. I'm glad it's not my street. But that is apparently what trash looks like. And I can see a whole bunch of stuff there that's been discarded, probably worthless, no longer needed or wanted. So I think it's fair to conclude that that's trash. But I kept on reading. I was like, trash, I wonder what trash is, because I'm inquisitive, I like learning. So as I'm reading about what trash is, I stumbled across another picture. Apparently this is trash. That's a bit harsh. That's a man in a bin. I don't think that guy's trash, but I kept on doing my reading. Apparently this lady is trash. Now, we'll hold it with that lady for a second. I found it a little bit disturbing because when I typed in trash, there were the rubbish dumps and tips, but I also got a whole bunch of weird looking people. And in my mind, I'm like, a person is never ever trash. Why on earth does that come up in Google when I search trash? She is a person. Now, people are not trash no matter what Google tells us. We can get rid of that picture now. What I do want to quickly point out to you guys is how sad it is and how quickly we suddenly sort of think, you look different, you smell different, you're old, you're trash. People are never ever trash, but what people can do, what people value, that can be trashy or that can be trash. So when it comes to values, I worked out as I sort of started developing this definition of trash. When it comes to values, some of the things that society says is a good thing to do or a cool thing to do is really trash. So for example, when I was on Facebook this week, I noticed on my newsfeed a picture came along, and a picture came along called Party Evolution. It's just going to go up behind me. And this is apparently how parties work. People are like, that's actually true. It is actually true. And it's trash. It's weird. Some of my friends do this, and some of the older guys here, not my leaders, not my senior leaders, but some of the other older guys have done this too, which is a bit disappointing because society has made this mistake of telling us that getting trashed is fun. It is fun to get trashed. So people, they start out, they have a drink, their very, very first drink. They have a little bit more to drink, and eventually after drinking way too much, because that's how they have fun, they go into this fake reality to have fun. After drinking too much, they end up in their own liquids. Now I want you to notice, I chose the word liquids. I've got a lot of friends who've made this mistake before. Liquids, right? I've seen my friends wake up in the morning in their own vomit. Yeah, that's all good. Nothing wrong with waking up in your vomit. There's something very wrong with waking up in your vomit. I've seen my friends wake up in the morning and they have wet themselves through because they have had so much fun at the end of the evening. I have seen my friends wake up in the morning and they got blood and cuts and bruises all over them, and they don't know how they got there because they had fun. Very interesting how somewhere in our value system we've decided that to have fun you need to enter into a fake reality, and if you're manly enough you can have a lot of a substance to have more fun, and then you wake up in the morning and that is what you wake up in, some form of liquid. Some of you just wake up feeling a little headachy or queasy in the stomach, and whatever it is, it's a very trashy set of values when it comes to having fun. One of the things I never understand is how people often say, never again, never will I do that again. 2 weeks later, for some reason, lack of fun, the trash comes back in and they end up trashed out all over again. So, what am I saying to you guys to start the series off? Trash, it's more than just rubbish on the side of the road. Trash, it's not people. But trash can be what we value. Trash can be what we sometimes do. And this is what we're sort of looking at this term. This term we're looking at taking the trash out. And so what we're really wanting to look at is, okay, if trash can be what we value, if trash can be what we do, then we need to start looking at ourselves going, well, what is it that I value? What is it that I do that is trash? What is it that needs to be discarded? What is it that needs to be thrown out from my lifestyle? But I think that before we sit down and go, I do that bad thing, or I do that kind of weird thing. Before you start doing that, I think it's really important we critique what comes into our lives, what we allow into our lives. You see, what I want you guys to know tonight is what comes in is always going to come out. What we allow into our lives is always going to come out through our actions and our words. Now I want to illustrate this for you guys with a story from Snow Camp, all right? So you got to get this. Whatever you allow into your life is always going to come out. So if you were here last year, you'll remember that when I went on Snow Camp, I told you about how horrible it is on the bus trip, about 7 hours. It's kind of a messy bus trip. If you weren't here last year, just Google the sermon or YouTube the sermon from 7 years ago. This year's group of Year 11s were going up the mountain, 7 hours up the mountain on a bus. I handed out a few sick bags, but to be honest, the trip up the mountain this year All good. No worries. Easy. We had 5.5 beautiful days of snow, of boarding, of skiing. A couple of people stacked it often, Mr. Gethin, not naming names. But we had... It's true. We had a great time, and then it came the last day. And the thing about Year 11 boys is they're really smart. And a group of Year 11 boys, they had a 10-litre bottle of water. 10 litres of water, and the guys are like, challenge accepted. You cannot waste good water. I mean, we've got snow everywhere, water everywhere, but they didn't want to waste this 10-litre bottle of water. We got 1 hour before we're getting on our bus to drive for 7 hours to get to Melbourne. They got 10 litres of water. So the guys start standing there and sculling it. Now, some Year 11 boys are smart. They have a few gulps. Ooh, too hard, give up. One Year 11 boy, not so much. I walked into the room, he'd already done about 1 litre, he had about 3 litres left to go. So the other guys had got him most of the way there. And I was like, man, stop now, there's no chance you can drink all of that. You're going to make yourself sick. And he's like, nah, man, Mr. Harris, I got this, just trust me, it's all good, Mr. Harris, I can do this, I've got a plan. And he was so happy. He had like this big smile, he was so confident. I was like, you know what? You can do it. You do it, brother. You drink that water. You drink that water right out of that bottle. I left him. We took all our bags down about 40 minutes later to the bus. Discovered there was no toilet on the bus. I went up to the Year 11 guys, like, how you feeling? How's the bladder? He's like, all good, got this. I said, what if you need to pee? He's like, all good, got this. I said, you can't open the windows. He's like, all good, I got this. What's your plan? Bottle. I'm like, man, you can't show people your stuff. He's like, got this. I'm like, it's a really small hole to get your pee into a bottle. Got this. He was so, yeah, that's my aim small missile. He was so confident. I was like, fair call. You got it. Go for it, brother. So I left him, got on the bus. We're driving down the hill. The hill is windy as. Like, you got to get this. You're going around a corner, and you get to the edge. Everyone dies. It's a steep, steep mountain, right? There's not exactly stopping on this journey. So I'm sitting there, we're winding our way down. I'm thinking, I wonder when the students are going to need the sick bags. And just then, water boy taps me on the shoulder. Mr. Harris, I gotta pee. Yeah? Can't stop, man. Mr. Harris, I really gotta pee. Can't stop, man. I gotta pee. Sit next to Mr. Nguyen. He sat next to Mr. Nguyen. Mr. Harris, I really gotta pee. He starts going pale. Seriously, his skin starts changing colour. I'm sitting there, okay. I go up to the bus driver. We have a student, bit of a situation. He drank a few litres of water. He really needs to go to the toilet. Is there anywhere we can stop? Bus driver, 45 minutes. Fair enough. Hey, 45 minutes. Nah, Mr. Harris, I gotta pee. Mr. Nguyen, don't you pee on me. Student hand is shaking. I'm sitting there across the aisle. I wonder how much pee he's got. It's going to dribble down on my feet. I'm worried about this kid. Mr. Harris, what about the spot on the corner? There's a cliff there, dude. We can't stop on a cliff. We're going to die. I got to pee, Mr. Harris. He starts sitting on the bus. True story. You ask the Year 11s. He starts rocking. And every time we went around the corner, he's just like, and he's just moaning there. Fetal position. I'm like, Miss Bennett, we really got to stop. Tell the driver we got to stop. And so we spoke to the driver. The driver's like, we'll stop when we can stop. The kid's just like, please, Mr. I can't stop the bus. We got to a bus stop. He ran off. I don't know what happened, but he got back on the bus. I didn't shake his hand. Perfect illustration. What you put into you is going to find its way out somehow, right? What goes in has got to come out. Always. What we put into our lives has to come out. You drink a lot of water, make sure you can pee. Whatever comes into you, it's always going to come out.